Today I'm building a project through the eyes of a DIY beginner, amateur woodworker, and a professional craftsman. Same exact projects, slightly different techniques, and huge profit jumps. Everything I build includes free step-by-step tutorials and free plans on my website, whosthevoss.com. Our first build is geared towards the ones who had just found that sweet smell of sawdust. Seriously, don't smell it a bunch though. It's bad for you. Grab a 1x6 pine board, measure down 5.5 inches, mark your line square, and cut on your line. Use the entire length of your blade, and I like to use my speed square as a straight edge to keep my cut straight. Put that piece on top of your 1x6 and draw a straight line. Find something that's 4 inches in diameter and trace it onto your square. Drill a hole large enough for your jigsaw blade to fit into and remove that center cutout. Jigsaw blades come in different blade thicknesses, and a thinner blade means that you can cut tighter radiuses. And a blade with a higher TPI means less tear out. So I didn't need this, I could have just used the jigsaw. After removing the center, cut off your second piece. Sand the interior of your circle, 120 grit's fine. Add a little wood glue and clamp your project together. Seriously though, these clamps are like 99 cents. These are like $3. Pay the extra, just get these. I rarely use these clamps. Once that's dry, connect 2 of your corners with a straight edge. Draw it kind of light so you have less sanding to do. And I'm just going to eyeball what the center of that line is. Take a 1/2 inch Forstner bit. I'm going to drill down about 1 inch. Yeah. And then you're going to sand the entire thing with 120 grit sandpaper. Oh my gosh, wow. Hey, welcome to the shop. Fan. Oh, that's a lot of editing. No, you're probably right. Yeah. Hey, what the heck are you building? That's a great question. You guys ever got ready to throw a party, but you forgot that your countertop was covered in goo? And all the cups you'd set on the counter, and now that one cup that was touching the counter, unusable. Probably has a bug in it. Well, not anymore. You can make this beautiful cup holder with a spot to hold the pin so that it's never lost until somebody steals it, because that's what they're going to do. I don't even know this many people. They can take their cup, write their name on it, and that bottom cup is still usable. With this design, stain it, paint it, theme it to be whatever sports team you like. Let's see some other designs. Yeah. Amateur builders know the garage gets stupid hot in the summer and to throw on 2 pairs of socks in the winter. For this build, we are switching to a 2x6. Measure down 5.5 inches and make your cut. Find the center by connecting both corners and drill a 1/4 inch hole in those crosshairs. This next step requires 3 different hole saws. Now hang on a minute. The only way to get a perfectly round cutout, that's going to be to use a hole saw. I didn't show you with the jigsaw because I wanted to show you how to do it with a jigsaw. Now I've owned the big, nice, expensive set of hole saws. I'm not a super fan. I actually prefer the cheaper ones. Not that cheap. I like these guys here where the arbor and the pilot, everything screws together nice. These are actually from Menards and they are Master Force. Menards might not be around you. It's kind of like a Midwestern thing, kind of like Prairie Farms milk. Probably never heard of it. Craftsman makes them. Cobalt makes them. You'll find them in your store wherever you go. They'll sell them in a little kit. Then once you start getting the bigger ones, you might have to buy them individually. You can see I have a whole bunch of different sizes, and that's because I get my money's worth out of my hole saws. And it's not only because I can play Here Comes Santa Claus on them. I don't have the higher notes. You get it. For this, you'll need a 4 inch, 3 3/4 inch, and a 3.5 inch. Measure 3/4 inch down using painter's tape as a reference line. And starting with your biggest hole saw, drill into your 2x6. Then step down in size until you've removed the appropriate amount of material. I use insulation foam in my feet clamps to hold my workpiece in place. Returning to the miter saw, I set my angle to 45 degrees and trimmed 3 of the corners. To keep my hand toe safe, I positioned a board, clamped it to my miter saw so that I can make these repeated cuts and also to hold my workpiece down safely. The final corner I did not remove has a conveniently placed reference line. Eyeball the center and drill a 1/2 inch diameter hole about 1 3/4 inch down. And to finish up, sand your project. Professional woodworkers own so many tools that they've bought duplicates because they forgot they already had one in their shop or simply couldn't find it. This level introduces a tool most woodworkers are terrified to use. Nope, not that one. Once again, cut your board to 5.5 inches, find the center, and drill a 1/4 inch hole in the crosshairs. Then you're going to cut a 4-inch piece of 1/4 inch dowel and you're just going to stick it in that hole. It ain't living there forever. It's just to help us out on this next step. Using a handheld, or otherwise known as a palm router, I'm going to take this round nose bit, I'm going to place it against my dowel rod with this rounded section of my palm router, and I'm going to bring it around town. If you want a straight, clean line, a lot of people assume that you just put this flat edge up against your other flat edge and you run your router, but that is not the case. Also, why bigger routers actually don't have a flat spot. I'm not sure why these do have a flat spot. I've loaded this baby with a pencil so I can show you the difference. This is just a straight board on a little piece of run. I'm going to run this along a straight edge. And what you're going to see happen if I deviate even a little bit from either side, I no longer have a straight cut. Now if I flip it around and I'm using this rounded section, it keeps my bit that exact amount of space away from my straight edge. I'll even kind of twirl it a little bit. And as you can see on the right side, using the flat edge of the router, if it hits a knot or something knocks it off just a smidge, you're not getting a straight cut at all. Versus if you're using that rounded section up against whatever you're trying to use as a template to make it straight, you get a nice straight line. Place your router against the dowel, cut into your workpiece, and repeat until it reaches a 3/4 inch to 1 inch depth, removing about a 1/4 inch material at a time. The clamp keeps my hand toes a safe distance from the sharp, spinny things. Then you can remove that clamp, remove that dowel rod, and look at that perfectly clean hole as opposed to our hole saw. I like it. Repeat those steps from earlier to cut off all but one of the corners. And don't forget to drill out our 1/2 inch hole, about 1 3/4 inch deep. And we need to sand it. Don't forget to sand it. We sand it always. Always sand it. And I consider this build to be at a pro woodworking level, not because we used a router, but because I'm using the same router with different heads in it. That's when you know that you're getting up there. You have a router dedicated to like a round over bit. This one just has a chamfer bit. I like how it looks. Gives it that nice 45 edge. I've made a few of these out of some thicker cuts of hardwoods, and I won't say I'm in love, but no chance, no way, I won't say it. I like it a lot. Our beginner project, since it was built from a 1x6x8, takes 11 inches per product. It means I can get 8 finished products from one entire piece of wood. That board costed me $6.99, 4 cents electricity, 1 cent for glue, 1 cent blade usage, $7.05 out of my pocket, divided by 8 takes us to 88 cents per build out of that 1x6. Selling for $5 each, times 8, so many products I can get, minus my $7.05, it costs something to build them, $32.96 in your pocket. Our amateur build, we're able to get 17 products from one board, that one board being a 2x6, so $4.97 plus our 4 cents electricity, 1 cent for blade usage, nothing for glue, no hardware, $5.02 for the total build of 17, 30 cents per product built. Those are selling for $6 each, times our 17 minus our $5.02 entry fee, takes us to $96.90. Our pro woodworker still making out of a 2x6, although they really should have made it out of a piece of hardwood. Those are $9 each, times 17 minus our $5.02 is $147 in your pocket from one single board. You might have questions about what I'm reading from. It's just a blank notebook. The Grimry, if you want to correct me, from Wicked. My wife bought it for me. It's what I do at the end here. You might also have a question to if these are food grade safe. Right now, no, they're not. The person taking that bottom cup probably isn't going to blame you. They're going to blame that questionably warm potato salad they just ate. However, if you wanted to protect your companies and your business, which, good idea, you can make it with a butcher block stain sealant. You can mix linseed oil and some mineral spirits together, put that on as a finish on the top, just to further protect your customers from the harms of stain. This is a great item to sell online and at craft shows. If you are going to the craft shows, yes, it generally costs money for admission, and yes, it's going to cost you several hours, pretty much the whole day, to go and set up. They don't like it when you leave early. They get mad. But I don't take that into account of this product because I'm taking 30 to 40 products with me, setting up for the entire day, selling 5 or 6 of each. I'm not gauging my money off of each individual. I just know that's what it costs me to go to the show. If you do want to turn this hobby into a full-fledged business, or maybe you just want to sit on the couch for an extra 20 minutes, I do have a video on where to sell products. I sell the same product to the same person for the same price across a bunch of online platforms to see which one takes the most money away from me. Then I also have a when to sell. That's going to tell you what items are popular when you should start making them, when to sell them, when to discount them. It goes in depth for both of those pieces. I do have a craft show video planned. I am working with the vendor because you can't film on location. I've also never filmed on location, so that'll be an experience. But that video is coming out. I've got a lot of questions about it. You see a ton of totes sitting around and behind me. We have a pretty big show coming up, so I'm trying to get ready for that, plus do that video. We'll see how that goes. I think my number one pet peeve is when I'm out here in the shop, I'm getting stuff set up, 6 to 8 minutes of just dead silence, and then I tell my camera, I'm like, hey, start recording. And then it does what it does, it's voice activated. And then you hear the because there's a train 4 blocks away, but the camera picks it up every time. So then I have to sit here and I have to wait. And if it's not going quick, it's like 4 minutes before it actually gets from where they park outside of town to getting through town.